Very good morning, dears, and welcome to today's session. In today's session, we'll continue with IC analysis, and I hope by now you are familiar with the binary division that we do in IC analysis. You know how to divide a particular construction into various constituents, immediate constituents, and ultimately we reach that stage where we get the ultimate constituents. So, how we do that, how we represent that in or using the tree diagram method is now familiar to you. So, other than the tree diagram, there are other methods also to show this binary division. One is box diagram, another one is using vertical lines, and third one is using brackets. So tree diagram, boxes, vertical lines, and brackets are some of the methods through which we represent this binary division of a construction using IC analysis. So IC analysis, we know it is this binary division of a construction, and the division goes on until we reach a point where a constituent is not further divisible. A part when each constituent consists of a word or a meaningful part of a word. Now, a linguist, H. Gleason, who wrote the books Linguistics and English Grammar and also Introduction to Descriptive Linguistics, which he published in 1961, which is a kind of update on Bloomfield's book on structural grammar. So he suggests a few methods for determining the ICs of a construction. Or to say there are different criteria or different tests for IC analysis. A few are expansion, distribution, substitution, and freedom of occurrence. So first we'll look into the first criteria or the first test for IC analysis, and that is expansion. Expansion can be explained like this using an example. Look at this example. The young man with a paper followed a girl in blue dress. The young man with a paper followed a girl in blue dress. So in this particular sentence, if we make the first cut, the first cut will be like this. The young man with a paper is the noun part, and the second part is followed a girl in blue dress. Here, this subject part, the young man with the paper, that can be substituted by any name. It can be John or Jacob, or any name can be substituted for this particular part. Again, a girl in blue dress. A girl in blue dress can be substituted by any proper noun. It can be Mary or Neha or anyone. See this. Okay, so the young man with a paper is just an expansion of the small constituent John or Jacob. A girl in blue dress is an expansion of this small constituent Mary. Alright, so all sentences are enlargements or expansion of a simple construction into a larger construction. That is what expansion says. But there are exceptions for this particular criteria. For example, if you take a sentence like, I saw the old man who lives here. The old man, that part can be substituted by a pronoun he. But who lives there or who lives here, that cannot be substituted. So expansion, actually this particular criteria works on substitutability or substitution. That is another criteria. And there are two types of expansion, like exocentric expansion and endocentric expansion. For example, in exocentric expansion is what is something that we saw in this particular example. There is a complete substitution of one particular part by another simple word. The young man with a paper, that can be completely substituted by John, that is exocentric expansion. Whereas if we take a sentence like children are playing, okay, then comes another sentence, um, the beautiful children are playing, okay, then again the clever, smart, beautiful children are playing. So in all these sentences, there is one common word, there is one head word, that is children. Children, that head word is there, it is not replaced, but only additions are made. And this kind of an expansion is called endocentric expansion. So there are two different kinds of expansion: exocentric, where a part is completely replaced. Then the other one is endocentric, where there will be a head word or a common word, that is endocentric expansion. So this expansion, this particular criteria or this particular test actually works on substitutability. One should be substitutable for the other. And again, regarding substitution, look at this particular sentence. His son's house. There again, his son can be replaced by John. John's house. It can be substituted. Again, the exception is there for a sentence like I went to his son's house. We know how to divide this particular sentence. It is quite easy to divide or easy to do the easy analysis of a sentence like I went to his son's house. But if it is a sentence like I went to Henry Sam's house or I went to John Adam's house, there this John Adam or Henry Sam, that cannot be further divided. So that is actually a problem there in IC analysis. Such a cut is not possible because Henry Sam or John Adam is the same person. Now, moving on to the second aspect, and that is freedom of occurrence. And freedom of occurrence is considered as one of the useful tests to determine IC, where, for example, look at this sentence given: Green Bay Packers or Green Bay Tree. We have common Green Bay in both these sentences. But look at the division. In first is Green Bay Packers. So Green Bay comes together. In the second is Green Bay Tree. So we in this particular, in order to have a binary division of this such a sentence, we take freedom of occurrence, where a cut is actually made by familiarity. Especially for this such a division, we take the native speaker's familiarity with the constituents in a number of contexts. And this particular criteria of freedom of occurrence, it does not work in all situations. Another example is Old Light Church and Old Lighthouse. Look at this first one, Old Light Church. And this light church is a very rare construction. Normally we say, Old Light Church. So that's why the division is there after Old Light. Whereas in a construction like Old Lighthouse, Old Light and house is not actually a family construction for us because we are familiar with this lighthouse. So the the division is actually made before old. And whereas again exceptions are there for sentences like light housekeeping, where it could be light housekeeping or light housekeeping. I hope you got the difference between this. So രണ്ട് യൂസ്ഫുൾ ടെസ്റ്റ് ആണ് നമ്മൾ IC അനാലിസിസിന് വേണ്ടി IC അനാലിസിസ് ഒരു സെന്റൻസിന് ഡിറ്റർമിൻ ചെയ്യാൻ വേണ്ടി ചെയ്യുക. ഒന്ന് എക്സ്പാൻഷൻ്റെ കൂടെ വരുന്നതാണ് സബ്സ്റ്റിറ്റ്യൂഷൻ എന്ന് പറയുക. അവിടെ ഒരു പാർട്ട് ഓഫ് എ വേർഡ് അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഒരു പെർട്ടിക്കുലർ ഗ്രൂപ്പ് ഓഫ് വേർഡ്സിന് നമുക്ക് ഒരൊറ്റ വേർഡ് കൊണ്ട് റീപ്ലേസ് ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റും, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ അതിനെ സബ്സ്റ്റിറ്റ്യൂട്ട് ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റുമെങ്കിൽ ദാറ്റ് സെന്റൻസ് നമുക്ക് IC അനാലിസിസ് പോസിബിൾ ആണ്. അതിൽ പക്ഷേ എക്സെപ്ഷൻസും ഉണ്ട്. അതുപോലെ മറ്റൊരു യൂസ്ഫുൾ ടെസ്റ്റ് ആണ് ഫ്രീഡം ഓഫ് ഒക്കറൻസ്. അപ്പം നമുക്ക് പരിചയമുള്ള കൺസ്ട്രക്ഷനെ നമ്മൾ ഒരുമിച്ച് ബൈനറി കട്ട് അവിടെ കൊടുക്കുക ചെയ്യുന്നത്. ഏതാണ് ഇപ്പോൾ ലൈറ്റ് ഹൗസിൻ്റെ കേസ് എടുത്ത പോലെ ഏതാണോ കോമൺ ആയിട്ട് അല്ലെങ്കിൽ നേറ്റീവ് സ്പീക്കേഴ്സ് ഹൗ ദേ their familiarity with a particular phrase in a context, അത് തന്നെ എപ്പോഴും ശരിയാകണമെന്ന് ഇല്ല. അപ്പോൾ which constituent has greater freedom of occurrence than the other one, ആ ഒരു പോസിബിൾ ആയിട്ടുള്ള ക്രൈറ്റീരിയയാണ് we take in this freedom of occurrence. So along with that there is one more criteria, that is distribution, which is again similar to the other. Look at the sentence, he wants to go, where the second cut is based on the expression to go is fun. In a sentence like, or in an expression like to go is fun, the division is there after to go. All right. Similar is the case with the King of England, where the first cut is there after the, but the second cut is not possible because this particular construction is based on the expression he became the King of England, where the first cut is after he, second cut is after became, and a third cut is not actually possible because King of England cannot be further divided. All right, so all these are quite actually related to each other. So these are the 4 criteria for IZ analysis. Now now moving on to the merits and demerits of IZ analysis, or what are the advantages or what are the limitations of IZ analysis. So at first there are 2 major merits of IZ analysis. First is different layers of meanings in a sentence are brought out. For example, old men and women. Okay, 2 possible divisions, 2 possible meanings are there in this particular sentence. One is that both men and women are old. So if you divide like old as first part, men and women together, that implies that both men and women are old. But if you keep all men together, if the first cut is after all men and women becomes the second part, that means only men are old. So different layers of meanings in a sentence are actually brought out using this method of IZ analysis. That is one of the merits. Another merit is similar to this, that ambiguity is resolved. For example, the same sentence, all men and women, it is quite ambiguous a sentence because whether both are old or only one is old, such ambiguous relationship or ambiguity in a sentence can be resolved using this method of IZ analysis. These are the 2 important merits of IZ analysis. Now looking into the demerits or the limitations of IZ analysis, there are quite a few. First, let's look into this particular demerit, that is of discontinuous ICs. I have given actually only examples for these limitations because these examples explain limitation at its best. So look at this particular example. She made the whole story up, or the general put the rebellion down. John took his hat off. Will John come? In all these sentences, there is one thing in common. There are phrasal verbs. In the first sentence, the phrasal verb is made up. Second, it is put down. In third, it is took off. In the last one, which is a question, it is will come. That is not actually a phrasal verb, but that's a question, will John come? So look at this. The verb is split and the subject is placed in between in all these sentences. She made the whole story up. The phrasal verb made up is divided, and in between the subject, the whole story is placed. So a binary division is not possible in these kinds of sentences. So this particular limitation is known as discontinuous ICs. Alright. Now, moving on to the second limitation, that is conjoined sentences, where similar elements are joined together, making it a single constituent. For example, he likes tea, coffee, milk, wine. Where tea, coffee, milk, wine, all these are of equal status. So these similar elements are joined together and it is quite impossible to have a binary cut. First cut can be made after he, a second cut can be made after likes, but then further division is not actually possible. Same is the case with the other sentences. Neither he nor Ram was present. Neither nor. Then the question, does he like tea or coffee? So it is difficult to go by binary cut if we go by these conjunctions. Again, the third limitation is that of group genitive. King of England's hat. Instead of words which reach down the level of morphemes. This is something that was earlier used, this particular construction. King of England's hat. Only one division is possible, then any further cut is not actually possible in a construction like King of England. King of England cannot be further divided. Then there is overlapping ICs. He has no knowledge or interest in grammar. Here when we make a second cut, no becomes possible only to one. No becomes possible only to this particular word used, that is knowledge. And meaning is not clearly brought out. Alright. Now moving on to the next one, that is of understood elements. Wait till I come. If you say a sentence like that, the subject is understood. The subject you is understood. But in IC there is no provision to show that understood elements. Though the subject is understood, one cannot go for a binary cutting or one cannot go for an IC cutting in this such a sentence. Now, then comes multiple ICs, quite similar to conjoined sentences. Only a multiple cut is possible if the constituents are of equal status, but this multiple cut is not actually possible in IC analysis because we follow the binary division. Look at the example. We follow the foot pound second system. Foot pound second system, that particular word cannot be further divided because they are of equal status. Then comes embedded sentence. Embedded sentence. Look at the example. The rumor that the convict has escaped worried the public. So one full construction is embedded into another construction. That particular part, that the convict has escaped, that is a full construction. That is actually embedded into a larger construction. The rumor worried the public. That is a construction. The rumor worried the public is the construction into which another construction, that the convict has escaped, is embedded. That the convict has escaped is a full construction because it has got both the noun phrase as well as the verb phrase. The convict is a noun phrase, has escaped is the verb phrase. So binary division is again not possible in this is an embedded sentence. Then grammatical relationships. Look at the sentence. Geeta ate the mango. The mango was eaten by Geeta. Even though these sentences are one and the same, having same meaning, going by IC analysis, we follow two different cuts in cutting these two sentences. The grammatical relationship is not brought out and these are treated as isolated sentences. Alright. Now, the second last one is meaning division. He is a criminal lawyer. Two meanings are possible for this particular sentence. He is a criminal lawyer, but IC analysis cannot clarify it. This sentence could mean that he is a lawyer as well as a criminal. That is one possible meaning. Second one is he is a criminal lawyer, someone who takes up criminal cases. So such meanings possible are not sometimes brought out using IC analysis. Then the last one is that of deep structure and surface structures. This is very, very important because in the coming classes we are going to learn more about deep structure and surface structure. Look at this particular example. John is easy to please. John is eager to please. From the form or the surface structure of these two sentences are similar, but deep structure or the meaning is actually different. Same is the case with the other example given. The octopus is delicious to eat. The octopus is anxious to eat. We remain in surface level while we do the cut. The deep structure is not possible in IC analysis. So these are some of the limitations of IC analysis, and I hope the entire concept of IC analysis is quite clear to you. What is IC analysis? What do we do in IC analysis? The binary division, the different ways of representing this binary division. Then comes the different criteria, the merits, the demerits. Alright, so with that I end today's session. Kindly listen to it. If you need any clarification, please feel free to ask. Thank you.